In just 43 seconds, a $2.4 billion agency restructuring plan crumbled. Kash Patel didn't expect the microphone to catch his whispered admission. He didn't see Dick Durbin's aide recording from the gallery. Cameras zoomed in as sweat beaded on Patel's forehead. The Senate chamber froze. What did the senior senator from Illinois reveal that made Trump's FBI director contradict his sworn testimony? At exactly 2:17 p.m. on January 23, 2025, the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing room buzzed with tension. Senator Dick Durbin, silver-haired and sharp-eyed, sat like a prosecutor who had been saving his best evidence for last. Across from him, Kash Patel walked in like an investigator who had seen too many lies, but today he would be the one under interrogation. Patel's nomination as FBI director hung by threads thinner than his carefully rehearsed answers. His black suit was immaculate, his FBI pin gleaming under the harsh committee lights, but his hands trembled slightly as he shuffled through prepared talking points about restoring integrity and nonpartisan leadership. Durbin's opening was surgical. "Mr. Patel," his voice carried the weight of 3 decades in the Senate, "you testified under oath that you have no plans to remove FBI personnel based on political considerations. Is that correct?" "That's absolutely correct, Senator," Patel replied, his voice steady but his jaw clenched. "The FBI must remain above political." "Then explain this," Durbin interrupted, sliding a manila folder across the mahogany table. The chamber fell silent except for the clicking of camera shutters. Internal Trump transition documents, dated December 15, 2024. Your signature is on page 3. Patel's face drained of color as he opened the folder. Inside were detailed organizational charts with red X marks through hundreds of FBI positions, names of agents who had worked the Russia investigation, counterintelligence specialists who had questioned Trump's associates, even administrative staff who had processed classified document requests. "This appears to be a loyalty assessment grid," Durbin continued, his voice rising. "Each FBI employee rated from 1 to 5 based on their allegiance to the Trump administration's objectives. Care to explain why 84.7 current FBI agents are marked for administrative review, which we all know means termination?" The silence stretched for 4 seconds. Cameras zoomed closer. Patel's knuckles went white, gripping the document. "Senator, these are preliminary discussions about efficiency." "Efficiency?" Durbin's voice cracked like a whip. "Agent Sarah Chen, 15 years of counterterrorism experience, marked for removal because she signed the warrant for Mar-a-Lago. Agent Michael Torres, Purple Heart recipient, flagged because he interviewed Roger Stone. This isn't efficiency, Mr. Patel. This is a purge." Twitter exploded. Patel purge, exposed, began trending within minutes. CNN cut into regular programming with breaking FBI nominees' secret hit list revealed. Even Fox News anchors struggled to defend what their own reporters were calling unprecedented political retaliation. But Durbin wasn't finished. At exactly 2:19 p.m., he produced a second document. "This is an encrypted email from your transition team account, sent January 8th to Steve Bannon. I'll read the key passage. The deep state cancer must be cut out completely. No half measures. We have the list, we have the justification, and we have 24 months to clean house before the midterms." Gasps rippled through the committee room. Even Republican senators shifted uncomfortably. Senator Lindsey Graham, usually Patel's strongest defender, stared at his hands. The galleries erupted with murmurs. Behind Patel, his legal team exchanged panicked glances. One advisor hastily scribbled notes, his pen shaking. The FBI's deputy director, watching from the back, looked physically ill. "Furthermore," Durbin continued, his voice gaining momentum like a prosecutor closing in for the kill, We have correspondence showing you requested detailed psychological profiles on 27 senior FBI agents, background checks on their spouses, financial records going back 10 years. Patel, this isn't standard transition planning. This is political opposition research on our own law enforcement. Senator Ted Cruz, normally quick to defend Trump nominees, cleared his throat uncomfortably. Mr. Chairman, perhaps we should let him answer, Durbin shot back, his eyes never leaving Patel. Mr. Patel, did you or did you not request surveillance-style dossiers on FBI personnel who investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol? The question was a masterpiece of political theater. Every camera in the room focused on Patel's face, which had gone from pale to ashen. His normally steady hands now trembled as he reached for his water glass, missing it twice before successfully grasping it. Senator, the transition team conducted routine background assessments. Routine, Durbin's voice rose to a roar that echoed off the marble walls. Agent Rebecca Martinez, 15-year veteran, counterintelligence specialist. Your routine assessment included photos of her daughter's elementary school, her husband's cancer treatment bills, and a note that she could be leveraged through family medical debt. That's not background checking, Mr. Patel. That's blackmail preparation. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Even the court reporters stopped typing momentarily, as if the words themselves were too shocking to transcribe. CNN's breaking news banner flashed, Patel accused of planning FBI agent blackmail. In the press gallery, veteran Washington reporters who had seen decades of political scandals sat with mouths agape. One CNN correspondent was seen frantically texting her producers, "This is bigger than we thought, way bigger." Patel tried to regain composure, adjusting his tie with shaking fingers. "Senator, you're mischaracterizing preliminary security reviews." "Am I?" Durbin produced yet another document, this one stamped with the Trump transition team seal. Internal memo dated January 12th, marked Eyes Only, K. Patel. Shall I read your own words? Phase 1, identify resistance elements within bureau hierarchy. Phase 2, document leverageable personal circumstances. Phase 3, voluntary resignations or administrative actions. The words hung in the air like a tocsin. Senator Amy Klobuchar, sitting 2 seats from Durbin, visibly recoiled. Even Fox News, which had been running defensive coverage all morning, switched to developing story banners questioning Patel's fitness. "You created hit lists," Durbin pressed on, each word deliberate and damning, "not just of agents, but of their families. Agent Thompson's teenage son with autism, marked as pressure point. Agent Rodriguez's elderly mother in assisted care, noted as financial vulnerability. These aren't personnel files, Mr. Patel. They're targeting packages." The gallery erupted again. Protesters began chanting, "Shame, shame," until Capitol Police moved to restore order. But their voices carried beyond the marble walls, picked up by news microphones, and broadcast live to millions watching in horror. Social media exploded. Patel blacklist trended alongside Defend FBI families. Former FBI director from both parties issued joint statements within the hour. James Comey tweeted simply, "This is not America." Even Bill Barr released a statement, calling the revelations deeply troubling. Back in the hearing room, Patel's support structure was collapsing in real time. His chief legal advisor slid him a note that he read, crumpled, and dropped to the floor. Behind him, Republican staffers were fielding frantic calls from their senators' offices, all asking the same question: how do we distance ourselves from this? Patel's carefully constructed facade began to crack. "Senator, that email was taken out of context." "Out of context?" Durbin's voice boomed through the chamber. "You sent detailed surveillance reports on FBI agents' personal politics, their donations, their social media activity. You created dossiers on their families, their children's schools, their mortgages. Tell me, Miss Patel, when did the FBI become the Stasi? The question hung in the air like smoke from a fired gun. C-SPAN's viewer count spiked to 2.3 million. Patel's legal advisor whispered urgently in his ear, but the damage was spreading like wildfire. This committee has also obtained phone recordings, Durbin announced, producing a third bombshell. December 20th, 2024, your conversation with Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche. Should I play it for the committee? Patel's composure finally shattered. Senator, I invoke my Fifth Amendment. Too late for that, Durbin cut him off. You're already under oath as a nominee. You can't claim privilege for conversations about official duties you haven't even assumed yet. The audio crackled through the chamber speakers. Patel's voice, unmistakably clear. We're not just talking about transfers, Todd. These people investigated us, humiliated us, leaked against us for 4 years. They think their government jobs protect them. They're about to learn otherwise. The chamber erupted. Democrats demanded immediate withdrawal of the nomination. Republicans scrambled for damage control talking points. Protesters in the gallery began chanting, "Defend the FBI," until Capitol Police restored order. But the most devastating moment came at exactly 2:20 p.m. A young FBI agent named Jennifer Wallish stood up in the public gallery. She wore her service uniform, her voice steady despite tears streaming down her face. "Senator Durbin," she called out before security could stop her. "I'm one of the 8A47 names on that list. I spent 3 years hunting ISIS cells in Syria. I've been shot at, blown up, and threatened by terrorists who want to destroy America. But apparently my real crime was doing my job when it included investigating people in Trump's orbit." Before security could escort her out, she continued, her voice breaking but determined. "My partner was killed in Kabul saving American lives. I carry his badge number on my vest every day. And now you want to destroy my career because I won't bow down to political pressure." The emotional weight of her words hit the chamber like a physical force. Senator Susan Collins, known for her measured demeanor, wiped tears from her eyes. Even some Republican staffers in the back rows looked visibly moved. Agent Walsh wasn't finished. "Sir, with respect, you don't know what sacrifice looks like. You've never had to call a fellow agent's wife to tell her she's a widow. You've never had to explain to a terrorism victim's family why justice takes time. But you're willing to throw away 15 years of my life because I did my job with integrity instead of loyalty to one man." Security finally approached her, but Durbin raised his hand. "Let her speak. This committee needs to hear from the people. Mr. Patel wants to purge." "My father served 30 years in the Army," Walsh continued, her voice gaining strength. "He taught me that our oath is to the Constitution, not any politician. When I raised my hand to defend this country, I meant it, but apparently that makes me your enemy." The chamber had become a cathedral of silence. Even Patel seemed transfixed, unable to look away from this young woman whose career he had marked for destruction. "I've arrested drug dealers, human traffickers, and foreign spies," Walsh said, her final words echoing through the vast chamber. "But the scariest thing I've ever faced is the idea that my own government might destroy good people for doing their jobs honestly. That's not the America I swore to protect." As security gently but firmly escorted her out, the applause began slowly, first from the gallery, then spreading Democratic committee members, and finally, reluctantly, to some Republicans. It wasn't political applause, it was human recognition of courage under fire. The moment broke Patel, visibly. His shoulders sagged, his carefully maintained composure finally shattered. For the first time since the hearing began, he looked like what he really was, a political operative caught red-handed, trying to weaponize America's premier law enforcement agency. The room fell silent as a tomb. Even hardened political reporters wiped their eyes. Patel stared at the table, unable to meet her gaze. Durbin's final question was delivered with the quiet intensity of a closing argument. Mr. Patel, Agent Walsh represents everything noble about federal service. She's willing to die for this country, but you're willing to destroy her career because she followed the law instead of following you. How is that making America safer? Within 3 hours, Patel's nomination was effectively dead. 7 Republican senators publicly withdrew their support. The White House issued a terse statement about reviewing all options. Legal experts debated whether Patel had committed perjury during his confirmation process. But perhaps the most powerful moment came in Durbin's closing statement. The FBI isn't Donald Trump's private security force. It's not Kash Patel's personal revenge squad. It's a law enforcement agency that belongs to the American people. And today, we reminded everyone exactly what that means. By evening, Trump's army had 4.2 million tweets. Agent Walsh's foe, standing defiantly in her uniform, became the symbol of institutional integrity under assault. Sometimes the most powerful weapon isn't a badge or subpoena. It's one senator with the right documents at the right moment, defending democracy 43 seconds at a time. What happens when loyalty to country conflicts with loyalty to a person? Dick Durbin showed us the answer. America always comes first. If this story revealed the truth behind closed doors, don't just watch. Subscribe to our channel, where democracy gets defended and lies get exposed in real time. Hit the bell because the next threat to our institutions might be even closer than you think. What would you do if you discovered your government was targeting civil servants for their integrity? Drop your thoughts below.